Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into the latest polling roundup from the Gavin Partridge YouTube channel. So the 2024 UK general election is just over a week away, just 1 week tomorrow. We'll all be going to the polls and voting. So we are at the busiest end of the general election campaign now pretty much. And we've had loads of polls released over the past 24 hours, including 2 very dramatic MRP polls. And I shall go through those for you in a second, as well as the regular opinion polls that have appeared today. Lots of them to get through, so it could be quite a long video. If you're enjoying the polling vlogs on the channel at the moment, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, okay, let's have a look at these polls then, shall we? I'll just put my leg and the foot up. Hold on. Ow, there we go. Right, okay, so we'll do the MRP polls at the end, I think. Let's deal with the regular polls that have turned up. And let's start off with Verian, just here. Not sure who they are, but they have found the Conservatives on 21%, Labour down on 38%, a little bit lower for Labour's vote share there. Liberal Democrats on 12%, SNP is on 3% with Verian. And we've got the Greens on 8%, quite a high Green total, with 16% for Reform, and that leads to a 17% overall Labour lead. We have had Ipsos as well, formerly Murray and Ipsos Murray, turn up. They have found the Conservatives on just 19% of the vote, Labour on 42%, Liberal Democrats on 11%, SNP on 5%, Greens on 7% and Reform on 15%. Overall, Ipsos have given Labour a 23% lead there. That is the joint lowest share that Ipsos have ever recorded for the Conservatives, 19%. Since they began polling UK general elections, I think, in 1978 is when they began. So there's only one time, and I think that's just a few days ago, where the Conservatives were at 19%. Absolutely catastrophic for the Conservatives there. We had JL Partners turn up yesterday. We've dealt with Delta Poll and Redfield Wilton. We did that on Monday, or did those on Monday's polling round. So the next poll is JL Partners, finding the Conservatives on 25%, a little bit higher. Conservatives, Labour on 41%, Liberal Democrats on 11%, SNP on 3%, Greens on 5%, Reform on 15%. Overall, that leads to a Labour lead of 16% with JL Partners. I'm so sorry I haven't got time to do comparisons to previous polls for this video, by the way. And then we've had Salvation, which has turned up today for Good Morning Britain. Have the Conservatives on just 18% of the vote. Absolutely shocking number for the Conservatives there. Labour on 41%. Liberal Democrats on 12%. Salvation have the SNP on 2%. Greens on 5% and Reform on 14%. Overall Labour lead of 23%. Let's try and find last Salvation poll. So there it is. The Conservatives are down 2. With Salvation, Labour are unchanged on 41. Liberal Democrats are unchanged as well on 12. SNP unchanged on 2% with Salvation. Greens were on 6%. They're down 1 on 5%. And Reform, well, they have Salvation 15%, and they're on 40%, so Reform are down 1. All changes really within the margin for error. And then finally, we've had Norstat. I will come back to the MRPs in a moment, though. Finally, for like regular polls, we've had Norstat. Again, not sure who they are particularly, but they have found the Conservatives on 23%, Labour on 39%, Liberal Democrats on 12%, SNP on 4%, Greens on 6%, and Reform on 15%. Overall, Labour lead with Norstat are at 16% there. So, clearly the Labour lead is pretty stable still at around 20%. Some of the polls have them slightly under 20%, you know, towards the mid to high teens. Some of them have them still in the low 20s. So overall, we see Labour hovering still around 20% with these regular pollsters. Now, let's have a quick look at these MRP polls. So we've had 2 of those turning up today. We have had Find Out Now, just here. And we've also had We Think. And let's deal with We Think first of all. So they have the Conservatives on 22% of the vote, Labour on 42%, Liberal Democrats on 11%, SNP on 3%, Greens on 6%, Reform on 14%. Overall, Labour lead over the Conservatives of 20% there. What does that mean in terms of signatures? Remember, MRP is where the pollsters drill down into each individual voter and their constituency and create a forecast based on their demographics. And so this is what We Think have found. So their MRP poll has Labour with 464 seats at the end of this general election. Conservatives have 76 seats at the end of this general election. Absolute oblivion, really, for the Conservatives there. Liberal Democrats on 52 seats, reclaiming their third-party status. SNP on 29 votes, 29 seats, I should say. Sorry, the heat is really getting to me. We're sitting here in the towers. 29 seats with SNP. Reform on 3%. 3 seats, Plaid Cymru on 3 seats, and Greens on 3 seats as well. So that's a majority for Labour, well over 200. But if you think that's dramatic, check out the other MRP poll that we've had today, which has come from Find Out Now, and they have the Conservatives on 15% of the vote. Labour on 40% of the vote, Liberal Democrats on 14%, just 1% behind the Conservatives. They've got the SNP on 3%, the Greens are on 7%, and check out Reform on 17%. So an overall Labour lead of 23%, but not a Labour lead over the Conservatives of 23%, actually a Labour lead over Reform of 23% there. Reform, the second biggest party in terms of vote share in that poll. And what does that mean for seats? Excuse me, everybody, will check this out. They have got Labour on 450 seats. They have got the Liberal Democrats becoming the official opposition, technically on 71 seats. They have got the Conservatives in 3rd place, unbelievably, on just 60 seats. So the Conservatives lose their status as the official opposition to the Liberal Democrats. Reform are on 18 seats with this MRP poll, and the Greens are on 4 seats. So who will become the official opposition with that result? Because you would suspect that maybe the Conservatives and Reform might have a merger or an alliance up to, what would that be, 78 seats, which would just about surpass the Liberal Democrats. But then again, some Conservative MPs will probably not be happy joining Reform, and you might have some Conservative MPs splintering off to Liberal Democrats, to further boost them, and so they might still become the official opposition. But without a doubt, that is one heck of a shocking poll, and I never thought we would see a general election like this. They have found 19,000 respondents in this poll, and the tweet says bombshell new poll puts Reform on 18 seats, Tories wiped out, and I say losing their official opposition status. That is the bar chart. Based on that, 450 for Labour, 71 for Liberal Democrats, just 60 seats for Conservatives, 18 for Reform, 4 for Greens, and 29 for others, which of course would include the SNP as well. What a poll that one is. Again, it is only a prediction. It's not a guarantee. That's how the election is going to play out. But if the election did come out like that, well, there would be all sorts of havoc, in the days afterwards, particularly in what's left of the remnants of the pretty much destroyed Conservative Party. Right, so just have a very quick look at the polling graph, see how that's looking. No changes really. Labour, their drop that we've seen earlier in the campaign has levelled off. They're slightly ticking up. The Conservatives still dropping more or less, maybe starting to level off slightly. Slight down tick for Reform there. So it looks like Reform have perhaps peaked and they're slightly ticking downwards. And we've got the Liberal Democrats, their rise is levelling off as well. And the Greens and the SNP not moving. Right, okay, well, what a shocker that is. I don't know. I remember, I'm old enough to remember 1997. Quite a few people watching this video probably won't remember 1997, when we thought that the Conservatives, the Tories going down to 165 seats, I think it was, at the hands of Labour and Tony Blair. We thought that was like a once in a lifetime. Really, although it was virtually repeated in 2001, actually, because that election saw barely any change. But, you get what I mean. We thought that was probably as bad as it would ever get for the Conservatives. But this is by far worse than anything that we saw in 1997. This is truly extinction level and oblivion for the Conservatives, if those LRP poll, particularly that last one, is any reflection, of what's going to happen a week tomorrow. Right, so we shall see. Dramatic times in British politics. Let me know in the comments what you think about all of this. And we're going to be back very, very soon with another polling roundup as we move into the last week of the election campaign and build up to election day itself. If you enjoyed the vlog, please like, share, subscribe, and we're back with more very soon. For this one, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.